Hi guys, a very good morning and welcome to Power Breakfast. I'm Pavitra Parekh. Those are the top stories that we have for you as we get into this brand new trading day. There's lots to talk about, but first up, a look at the global markets. Limited cues coming through because US, like we pointed out, was shut for a holiday. So we have the Asian markets which are trading and there's no big move over there right now. So what's doing the best is perhaps the Shanghai markets just around 1/4% higher. No big move at all. Kospi is around 0.2% in the green as well. You have Hang Seng on your screen, just a minor green tick over there. And for the rest of the Asian markets, you're actually seeing some cuts. So the Taiwanese index up on your screen, it's down around 0.3%. You have some, 15 points of a cut coming in for the Japanese markets as well. But really no big direction from Asia. The SGX Nifty will come up for you, and it is indicating quite a flat start for our own markets with just around 17 points higher on the SGX Nifty right now. So that's happening across the global markets. But let's talk about all of the cues that you should track as we get into this trading day. We have our research team here with the trade setup, as well as the individual names that could be in the news today. So we have Mangalam, Ekta, as well as Surbhi joining us with the trade setup. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Ekta, let me come to you first. We did end the session lower and we started the week a little bit on the back foot, but take us through what we should watch today.
Thanks for that, Pavitra. Well, yes, yesterday the markets did end lower. The Nifty ended below that 20-day moving average of 17,847. The financials continued to underperform. IT stocks gained. FIIs, in fact, net sold around 158.95 crores. DIIs net bought around 86.23 crores. So the same trends that we've seen in the previous trading session continued into Monday's trade. Like you mentioned, the US markets are closed for trade. Asia is largely waiting and watching what could exactly take place with the Fed minutes later on this week. So that is something which would be a important point to note for the Asian markets as well as for the global markets. SGX currently indicating a bit of a positive start. So like I mentioned, this week in terms of cues, we have the big cue coming in from the Fed in terms of the minutes. We have F&O expiry. Watch for further pressure in terms of the banks because that has been an index which has underperformed on a year-to-date basis. In fact, the Bank Nifty is at the lowest level that we've seen since Jan 31st and has underperformed the Nifty. In terms of the Nifty, resistance levels seem to be at around 18,000 at this point in time. The near-term levels, 20 DMA, which we've already spoken about, 17,847, 100-day moving average, as well as the 50-day moving average would be the near-term levels to watch out for in terms of the markets. So over the week, Fed minutes would be top of mind along with F&O expiry.
All right, Ekta, thanks a lot for bringing us all of those cues that we should track. Let's also talk about the individual stocks that could be in focus in today's trading session. We have Surbhi standing by with that entire list. Good morning, Surbhi.
Good morning. I have a few stocks on my radar today. The first one is ACC and Ambuja, where Adani Cement says that they can resume operations at their Himachal Pradesh plants with effect from 21st of Feb. Next is Minda Corp. They held their analyst call yesterday and the management says that the investment in pre-call is for financial investment purpose only and they continue to be a minority shareholder with no special rights. Asian Paints, the company signs an MOU with the government of Gujarat to set up manufacturing facilities in Dahej, and this is to manufacture VAE and VAM. Next is BEML. The company signs MOU with Delhi Metro for Bahrain Metro Rail projects. BEL company, along with Delhi Metro, launches India's first indigenously developed signaling system. And lastly, GR Infra. The company has emerged L1 bidder for 2 projects in Uttarakhand with a total project cost of close to 3,600 crores.
All right, Surbhi, thanks a lot for that entire list of stocks. We're going to watch for all of these in today's trading session. It's finally over to Mangalam, who's looking at all of the cues from the futures and options space. Mangalam, like we were just pointing out, it was a near 100-point cut at the close. We're pretty close to that 20 DMA level.
We are. In fact, the 20-day moving average is likely to be the first support, as it has been in yesterday's trading session as well. So the Nifty closed at 17,845 yesterday, whereas the 20-day moving average stands 17,839 itself. Not much in terms of flows coming in from the cash market. The gross volumes are rather low, but the FIs, they unwound almost 700 crores in index futures, though. They unwound around 575 long contracts, added around 7,300 short contracts, as a result of which their long exposure is now just around 22%. Remember, just a few days ago, this was as high as 27, 28 odd percent itself. And above and beyond all of that, they bought more calls than puts. So maybe, were the market to break out, they would benefit from that. However, at the same time, they've written more calls than puts as well, around 85,000 calls what they've written, as against 59,000 puts that they've written. And remember, this is over and above the 2.2 lakh calls that they've written already. So in just the last 2 trading sessions, the FIs have written 3 lakh calls as against 1.5 lakh puts itself. And that explains why the put call ratio is at 0.74. Important to know that, levels between 0.7 to 0.75 is where we see a bit of a bounce from. So were the markets to bounce, the FIs have positioned themselves at the call levels itself. What were the calls that were active? 17,900, extremely active in yesterday's trading session. 18,000 call also saw a fair amount of writing. So at the same time, that's telling you that levels closer to 18,000 to 18,050 may face a bit of a resistance even if the markets were to bounce. 17,700 put, however, continues to see some writing. So, if we were to break the 20-day moving average at any point in time, the next leg of support would be closer to around that 17,700, 17,650 to 700, which was the erstwhile support zone for the market.
Right, Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. For now, the SGX Nifty is indicating quite a flat start, just around 15 points in the green. So let's see how the session moves from here. But with that, we have to get into our first short break on the show. When we return, like we told you, Minda Corp says its acquisition of the 15.7% stake in Precall is only and only a financial investment.